In this video we're going over bare shaft paper tuning, which is actually one of the most important steps in the tuning process. So let's get started. So I built this simple stand out of just some scrap wood. It doesn't have to be anything special. You just want the paper to have a little bit of tension so that when your arrow passes through it, it stays stationary. But we'll put this about 2 feet or so in front of the target. I'll stand about 15 feet away and shoot through it. I'm going to start out here with my current lightweight setup to see how well that's actually tuned to my bow. That also gives me kind of like a baseline. So if there's any problems that are in this setup and my new setup, then I know it's actually probably my bow that needs a little bit of adjustment. Alright, so that's the first 4 shots with the original setup. You can see the tears are only about 1 inch long, so not too bad for just bare shaft. And they are all nock high and nock to the right, so that's at least good that I'm being a little bit consistent. We'll be able to figure those out. The nock high might be because my rest is too low or my nock point is too high. The easy thing to fix is the rest, so I might have to raise my rest, but I'm going to go ahead and shoot my new setup first. If the problem persists between the two, then I'll definitely raise my rest up and see what that does. But really, you know, hopefully we'll see what happens when I shoot the new setup with some different point weights, because the tear to the right could mean I'm overspined, which doesn't really affect me now that I'm going to this new setup. So we'll see what happens. I'll shoot that one next. Alright, so the first tip weight I'm shooting is going to be the 125 grain tip with the 15 grain collar, so I'm getting really close to 150 grains, and we'll see how that shoots with 300 spine arrow. Alright, so there's the last 3 shots right here, and they're all nock high, and they're actually doing a little bit worse than the first 4 as far as the nock high goes. But as far as left and right, you know, this one's almost perfectly straight up and down. That one is just a hair to the right, and this one's a little bit to the left. So it looks like 150 actually shoots decent. But things might start to change when I move my rest. It looks like I definitely have to move that up, so we'll give that a shot. Maybe run it through again, and then we'll start changing weights. Alright, so those are the 3 new ones, and each one of them are all still a little nock high. Again, this one's like almost straight up and down. This one's just a hair to the right, and that one's going a little to the left. So I think I'm going to raise that rest up one more time, see if I can't get rid of the nock high, and then we'll start changing point weights. And that is looking a lot better. So it looks like the nock high is just about all gone. I do have, you know, a little tear to the left here, really tiny left tear, and then that one's like a bullet hole. So that's kind of what we're looking for. I am also noticing any torque that you put in with your front bow hand, it really affects tears left and right. So, you know, some of these left and right tears may be my fault, and this one, you know, this might not have been a perfect shot. It might have, if I would have made a perfect shot, torn to the left, but because I put some sort of torque on it, made a bullet hole and is showing me something that's not really true. So I got to be really conscious of my bow hand and make sure I don't have any torque on the bow. So we're going to start changing point weights, and we'll see what shoots the best with this arrow. Alright, so moved up to 200 grain point weight. Let's see how it goes. Moving up to 225. 250. 275. Alright, so I'm going to quit at 275 and I'll show you why. So, if you look, these three were 200, these three were 225, these three were 250, and then there looks like there's only two, but I hit this point, this spot twice. So these ones are 275, and don't mind this huge gash right there. When I was pulling the arrow out of the target, I hit the nock into there and ripped all that.
Whoops.
But anyway, so if we go back and look at 200, I mean, these two are just about perfect bullet holes, and this one tears just down and to the left a little bit. And then as we move up, it continues to tear more down and to the left, more down and to the left, more down and to the left. So it looks like 200, you know, as far as what the Ranch Fairy says, is once you start seeing some issues, even though this 225 looks great, and I wish I could add that extra 25 grains, don't get caught up in that. Move back down and shoot what shoots perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick with the 200. Now I know that's my point weight, and I can move on to the rest of the tuning, which is going to be nock tuning and insert tuning. Before we move on with the rest of the tuning process, we can actually weigh our arrows now because I know the point weight. And I have the 200 grain point on there, so throw that on, and then I have some vanes here. Throw those on, and we're looking at about 518 grains total. And that actually might go up just a hair because I'm probably going to add a lighted nock to this. So right around 520, 25 grains probably. Which is a little bit lighter than I really wanted. I was looking for that 550, and you know, I mentioned that in the beginning that I think if I would have had a 250 spine arrow that I could have found, I would have been able to reach that. But it is what it is, and after doing the paper tuning process with these 300 spine arrows, I really can't complain because I had just about perfect bullet holes with these. So really happy with how the bare shaft paper tuning process went. And actually, I only spent an extra $25 to get the Ranch Fairy point test kit, and you know, plus shipping. But and then the time it took me an hour total to film, to explain, and to actually shoot. But really, I only shot about 25 shots, so it took me, you know, it would probably take you as long as it would take you to shoot about 30 shots. So it really doesn't take very long. And I was actually pretty nervous about doing the paper tuning process because I've seen so many videos on YouTube of people saying it took them multiple hours and multiple different days to do this. But you never know unless you try, and that's what I try to get across in a lot of my videos. Anybody can do these things. It just takes a little bit of research to know what you're doing and a little bit of motivation to get out there and actually do it. So that's going to be it for this video. Next video, we're moving on to nock tuning and insert tuning. Thanks for watching, and as always, get out there and be one with the outdoors.